And so everyone needs one form of coping mechanism or the other. And our next guest has found healing in art. She is Fatima Masaya, creative visual artist and art therapist, founder of Colorful Whispers. She's right there in our Abuja studios. Good morning, Fatima. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm good. Thank you.
And you're looking colorful, just as your art, maybe even more beautiful. Okay, so before we begin to talk about the healing part of it, tell us how you found art, or how art found you.
Interesting journey. I studied art in the university. My father was an international photographer. In fact, I wrote art for WAEC. I went over to university. I studied at University of Maiduguri, and I studied creative art, majored in graphics and illustration. And I found myself, after graduation, painting, and then using multiple mediums to express myself. And after that, I now discovered that, okay, I'm an artist. What do I do to give myself an edge, or to create something unique out of the art? So I went further to start capacity building, self-development journey, whereby I stumbled across, actually, art has the ability to heal, and is actually one of the major modalities for healing. One of the healing, it facilitates healing. So, and ever since then, it has been an amazing journey.
All right, we'll expand more on the healing part later. But as we progress now, looking at some of your works, they're very colorful. There's something even joyful. There's a message of optimism in some of your works that we have seen, but particularly at the start of the program. Talk to us about the messaging, even though I can perceive that, but it also appears to be a lot more abstract. So perhaps when the pictures begin to show as you speak, you can speak to them one by one.
Okay. Basically, my works are a form of symbolism and self-expression. I want it to be in such a way that even though I have my own story and I have my own theme when I'm creating an artwork, but I want it to be very engaging with my audience. I want it to be stimulating. I want to stimulate some certain kind of feelings to them. Something that it is even maybe forgotten or unaware, to just bring it to the forefront. This one you're seeing now, I call it the Arewa woman. And it has a lot to do with how shy, laid back, quiet, just be at the background we normally believe, the assumption is to be. So I would, my work has colorful and strong message, and then there's, if you can look at it well, there's this sequence about it that has a lot to do with boldness, creativity, self-expression, and when you're talking about stimulating something in someone, you will now look at it and you have your own kind of interpretation that would stimulate some kind of awareness in you. It will draw you inside. You now wonder, what's going on? What's happening? And then you now have your own kind of interpretation, which I would want us to have an engagement. If we engage on one-on-one or maybe in an audience conversation, you now discover that everyone has his own interpretation and meaning to life and things you see. So we all see things through our own window.
So for instance, this one now, what are you trying to convey with this? Okay, it's okay, you can talk about this one.
This one, I call it Synergy. It was an exhibition that we just recently done. I made it purposely for the International Women's Day. and it has a poem on it whereby we're talking about how different we are as women, but then we can come together and then something very powerful usually comes in, or we erupt and bring out something very, very good. When women come together and sit together to bring up something, we're different in our own way. That's why we have this, you can see the distinctive, features and nature and characteristics of the red, the yellows, the fire and the water, or the fire and the sea. Two different energy coming together, but then there's this form of balance in between. You can see there are two different things, the fire alone and the water or the ice alone. But yet, I have a very beautiful representation or picture there that you can see. And then they sit together in a way. There's a way you can still, it's still subtle to the eye, or they still marry together, and they're still, you can still look at it and you enjoy it in a way, right?
Mm-hmm. Also, for people who see art as a bit elitist, so which, you know, in terms of the costs, in terms of even its appreciation, because access is critically important, although talent has nothing to do with how you were born. It's talent that can be developed. But people see art as more elitist. How do you appeal to them? Because they don't go to some of these galleries to, you know, appreciate some of these works. But in your view, from what you've expressed to us, it looks like everybody needs to have some relationship with art.
Yeah, directly or indirectly, you still have that relationship to art, because even the way we dress, the way we live our lives, our offices, our homes, there's some certain kind of expression one way or the other. It's just that some people go extra while some are very conservative in terms of choices of life. So we're just being ourselves in different way and expressing ourselves in a very unique way that is peculiar to individual. So whether we like it or not, even in the most cooperative thing or most formal setting, there's still some kind of art, directly or indirectly, whether you're aware of it or not, it's still there.
So will it be fair to say that anything that is scribbled by an artist is some form of art, since it's subject to multiple interpretation in that sense? Because I saw something online and people were looking at it in a very funny way, almost sarcastic in that sense. Somebody just stood up and just ran across a line and drew something, and everybody was clapping. I'm wondering, what exactly did this guy do that is so special? But there were people that were cheering like he did something really powerful. So is it fair to say that whatever the artist puts out, you know, is art in that sense, no matter how ludicrous or how exciting it is?
Yes, actually, because I remember when I was back then, when I was in school, we used to have this saying, there's no mistake in art. And you can have probably an assignment or there's a work going on, depending on the kind of work you're doing. You can easily, or probably if you look at it deeply, there's a way you can rectify it. And then there's a way, like my kind of art, some people will resonate with it, while some will not resonate with it. So also personally, I have the kind of works that attracts me, and then there are some that, okay, they're just there, they're a work of art, I appreciate them, but they're not my type of work. Just like what I'm wearing now, if you look at it well, I did the painting, and they're hand-painted, they're fabric painting. So it's a work of art.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now let's come to the healing part.
Okay.
You know, for you, you say it's a therapy, but for, you know, art connoisseurs who are appreciating it, how do they participate in that healing? I'd like you to open the door to your healing experience to us and help us understand how you derive healing from something that you exert energy and time on.
When it comes to the healing part, we keep aside professionalism. The main aim is to provide a safe space and a safe zone. You come, depending on what you want, For example, now I had a session some few months time, or maybe years, okay, few weeks back or months time. Like mostly my sessions, I have theme that I want to achieve depending on the peculiarity of my clients or the need of the client at that point in time. So, you know, you find out that some people, because of the peculiarity of their situation at that point in time, some people are quite stressed, some people are floating, some people are not even aware of their environment because of what they have been through. So to bring out their senses back, as simple as scribbles or crayon or colored pencil session, it's not like you're bringing it, oh, okay, this is a therapy session, because we have this idea of therapy being something very intense. Yeah, there are situations that you do the intense one, but you see the art part comes when you want someone to relax. You're trying to bring the senses back to itself. And mindfulness. So it's really good when it comes to stop the mind from ruminating or bring back the senses into a whole, more like awareness in terms of mindfulness, be aware. For example, now, if I say, how do you feel about your small toe? The small toe. So you see, automatically now, you were not aware of it. But me calling it, it has taken your mind to it. Or what can you perceive now at the studio? What can you feel? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So automatically, yeah, it is directed at where I want the mind to go to.
Okay, so let's talk about your workload in that sense, Masaya. Let's talk about how many pieces of artwork do you put out, say, in a month, and how affordable? I'm not saying tell us how much it costs, because I know these things can be pretty expensive, relatively.
Yeah. Come again?
I was asking how many pieces of artwork do you put out in a month? Your paintings, your drawings, and all of that. And how affordable?
Okay,
how affordable are they?
They're relatively affordable, just like the way you said.
Okay, 500,000, 1 million.
Relatively. Yeah. Even more, even less.
Well,
so art is for the elites.
It's apparently not for the poor, apparently. But my first question before the issue of how much it costs is, how many do you put out? Is it by you just find yourself expressing, or you are commissioned to do some of this art? And how many do you churn out in a month?
It depends on for example, if it is a commissioned work, there's usually a deadline. But ordinarily, if I'm creating and then juggling it and balancing it with life, motherhood, marriage, relationship, friends, so you find out that sometimes in a month, depending on the mood, sometimes you cannot even produce even a single work in a month. And then another month will come, you're producing beyond 3, 4, 5, depending on the situation on ground, and then the clients you have and the demand at them.
So thank God you mentioned your family. Any of your child showing that tendency towards the arts in that sense?
Yes, my daughter, Aisha.
Any of the children, yeah.
Yes, my daughter, Aisha. In fact, when I was coming this morning, I dropped them off at school, and they were like, Mommy, make sure you call our names.
oh, really?
Okay, please call all their names.
For the sake of, so that you don't have children crisis when you go home. Please call their names for peace to reign. So I'm going to keep quiet, and you're going to speak to the camera and call their names so it can be recorded for them, because they are special.
Okay. My oldest son is Aliu. He's 14, almost getting to 15. And then the second daughter, which is more of a creative than I am, is Aisha. She's 11, going to 12. And then I have an 8-year-old, which is Abdurrahman.
God bless all three of them.
Yes, all three. There are 3 of them, which Aisha is more creative than I am.
Okay, Aisha, you heard your mom, so there should not be any problem when she comes on Bukola.
And as we wind down, in 30 seconds, talk to us about mentoring. There's a growing pool of artists from Northern extraction, and we have interviewed them on this platform, and it's quite exciting to note. But are you having mentoring sessions as a form of give back, particularly to young girls from the North?
Yes, yes, I do. And the key thing I always tell them is be yourself and be truthful to yourself. Because sometimes I read something somewhere which I really agree with, and it resonates with me very well, when it says everyone is trying to be unique. Everyone is trying to be unique. Yes, it's good to be unique, but at every given time, try to be truthful to yourself and dare yourself to be yourself.
Fine place to leave it. Fatima Masaya is our guest on this one. Creative visual artist, art therapist, and founder of Colorful Whispers, who has joined us from our Abuja studios. And our warm regards to Aliu, Aisha, and the third one? Abdurrahman. Thank you so much, Fatima Masaya, for your time on the program.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was nice being here.